ABC. I'm Charlene O'Hanlon. Thank you very much for being a part of my day today. We're having so many great conversations here, and I'm about to have another great one with Asaf Kochan, who is the co-founder at a company called Centra. Asaf, thank you so much for stopping by and saying hello and having the conversation with me. Do appreciate it.
Pleasure to be here, Charlene. Thank you.
Excellent. So you are a brand new company. Centra is a brand new company. You guys are based in Tel Aviv, correct?
That's correct.
Excellent. So tell me a little bit about Centra, what it does, how you founded the company, and just any background you want to share.
Super, thanks, Charlene. So Centra is a relatively young company. We're just under a year on the road.
Very young.
Based upon my previous experience, I was head of Unit 8200 in the Israeli Defense Forces. I came to a few fundamental kind of understandings about what's beneath the surface of the world, how messy it is. And Centra's main mission is to deal with data. We have an extremely data-centric approach. And we really believe that after we studied it, most organizations don't really understand where the data is. Mm-hmm. They don't understand where their valuable and sensitive data is. And another premise that Centra was founded upon is that every organization will be breached and penetrated. So it's not a matter of if you're going to be breached, you have to pre-position yourself and assume that you're going to be breached. So the combination of 100% being breached and knowing where your data and pre-positioning yourself, this is kind of the key foundational layer to Centra.
Right, so is it safe to say you are bringing a level of visibility to the data, or is it more about understanding where the gaps are in your security posture?
So the first is correct.
Okay.
Centra is basically and fundamentally about discovering and understanding data, classifying data, and being able to put light on data that organizations don't know they have. Oh. We call it shadow data. Ah. Again, this is something I'm deeply and profoundly, I believe in, that most organizations have data that they don't even have a clue that they have. And this part of Centra, of understanding and revealing the data, would be the first layer of Centra's promise and offering.
Okay. So it's, you know, the idea of data security, or just the topic of data security, it's such a vast topic. You know, we've been talking about data security for a very, very long time, but obviously, especially over the last couple of years, it has become much more important, and companies are paying a lot more attention to the security, not only of their networks, but also of the data and the way that it travels. You know, have you seen a shift in kind of maybe the messaging around data security as we've kind of lived through the last couple of years and moving forward?
Yeah. I think the major paradigm shift is to do with the movement to the cloud environment.
Sure.
And the collision between cloud technology, cybersecurity, and data is a new space with a new paradigm. So if it would be the on-prem era, it was relatively, I would say, simple to understand where your data is. It was physically locked in a data center with a key. There was a door to the data center. Right. In the cloud, there's no a perimeter. There's actually no perimeter. And you really don't understand where your data is. And the amount of data which you produce, the amount of data which you consume in the cloud, the amount of data which moves in the cloud, makes it incredibly hard to track and to control data. And Centra's mission is to basically enable organizations to regain control over this part.
It seems like such a fundamental thing for organizations to do, but obviously, because of all of the issues that we have seen in the cybersecurity and the data security space, it doesn't seem to be an easy task. So what do you think, this seems like a problem that we should have solved by now, especially with so many organizations moving to the cloud. So why do you think it has taken so long?
Fundamentally, I believe that most of the security establishment focused on what I would call defending the network, putting barracks and lures and trying to pull the perimeter paradigm from the on-prem era to the cloud. dealing with data wasn't perceived as their job. It was perceived as people jobs.
Other person's
data
problems,
engineers,
right?
yeah, data engineers and so forth. It wasn't perceived as a key part of the security stack. I think it starts from that part of feeling responsibility for data and understanding that the main mission of security teams is at the end of the day to understand and protect the data. It's all about, when there's a breach, it's not the network which is flowing out, it's data which is flowing out. So I think this is a fundamental problem. It wasn't perceived as a key responsibility of security teams, and there was someone else who could be kind of responsible for that.
Yeah.
And that's changing.
Yeah, and that's actually a very, very good point, because I think when we get kind of an understanding, if you will, within the entire security community of what they're really supposed to be protecting, I think we will see a lot more movement in the data security space and a much more embracing of these different technologies to secure data security. But I still feel like we might be early days as far as
Very much so. Very much so. I again, profoundly believe that there's a convergence between three different parts of which were siloed in enterprises. The traditional security, which was basically meant to prevent from others getting in and from information leaking out or from stuff going out. The compliance part, taking care of customers' data, which every organization is interested in it, and some are fined if they don't do it.
Right.
And the other part is the ability to do digital transformation. So consume data and create revenue from data. And these three parts are aligning and kind of getting much more interacted together. And it's creating an environment whereby security teams are not longer just responsible for risk reduction. They have a responsibility to enable organizations who are data-driven to move much faster in order to create more revenue. And they will be accountable for that, and they will be judged on that. And part of it, you can't do it without understanding anything about your data.
That's true, and for so many years, the security of a company was relegated to one department. Now it seems like, well, not seems like, it is. It's everybody's responsibility. So, we talk about the shared responsibility model with cloud services providers, but I really think that mindset should also be within an organization. The fact that everybody has a role to play in securing the data, in ensuring that, they alert the right people if they notice something is off, and so much more. So do you think that we're kind of maybe approaching security I don't want to say incorrectly, but maybe we need to rethink the way that we do approach security in organizations to create a much more security-minded organization as a whole?
Yeah, at the end of the day, because it's all about the data, and the data will be the major source of revenue for organizations. Mark Andreessen a decade ago spoke about the fact that software is eating the world.
Right.
Today it's data and cloud which are eating the world. And in this sense, you have to have a very broad sense of accountability to having a data hygienic environment, responsibility for protecting data. So it's DevOps, it's the business side, it's the compliance side, it's the security. In this sense, it's, again, at the end of the day, you have to have people who are accountable and responsible. These will be the security compliance teams, but it has to be shared responsibility, and they can't do it by themselves. And what Centra basically does, it creates a platform which spills light on the data assets of every organization that everyone can see. And once you see it, you can build a model of shared responsibility.
Yeah, if you don't know it's there, how can you protect it, right?
That's correct,
Yeah,
that's correct,
so.
Charlene, that's correct.
So Centra is part of our DevSecOps days at RSA.
So we're currently, as I said, relatively young. We came to see RSA, so we don't have a booth yet. Next year we're going to conquer RSA.
Excellent.
But we came to see, we came to network, we came to meet potential customers. We're doing really good here. And it's for me, it's also on a personal kind of level, it's liberating after 2.5 years of COVID to kind of engage in such a vibrant, energetic environment. I think you feel the same, no?
I do. I feel just there's an energy here that we've all been waiting for this for a very long time, and it's nice to see people, from the neck down, because we've been living in a Zoom world for the last 2.5 years, so it's very it's just a lot to fun to actually get.
So I have to remind myself I have to dress properly.
I know, put on a
beneath
pair
my
of pants.
shirt. So yeah, but it's great, and again, I'm enjoying myself. I'm thoroughly enjoying myself here.
Excellent. Is this your first RSA?
Yeah, it's my first RSA. As I said, I was head of Unit 8200. I was sending people to RSA, but I can participate, and I'm sure it's going to be first of many more RSAs. So
I certainly hope so. Asaf, thank you so much for having the conversation with me about your company. I wish you guys the best of luck, and we'll see you back here next year.
Thank you, Charlene. It's been a pleasure to be here, and all the best.
Excellent.
Great.
All right. So guys, stick around because we've got lots more interviews happening today throughout the day. But for now, we're just going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.